this season. He's been going towards it. BDD's been playing it as well, even Chovy with a cheeky couple of games, and also has had some bans against him as well, as we saw in the last series. But of course, the Kai'Sa are going to be first picked, and we'll see what KT's response is going to be, as Aphelios, Thresh are both available.
Yeah.
And Hybrid was one of our really good Aphelios players last season.
He's 0-2 on it this season, but it doesn't mean it's not a very powerful pick. You know, if you want to zoom in on stats alone, the size doesn't really tell the story. Definitely something to consider, but this is the first time Seraphim's been left open in a while. And this means that with Zeus picking this up, they're going to have a very aggressive bottom lane. They might even just grab the Xayah here as their R3 pick, because it's a safe pick with the Seraphine, strong into the Kai'Sa. And KT Rolster have a draft that's very stable at the moment.
Yeah, already. As I'm thinking about going towards his Graves. Certainly will be able to also farm very quickly, as there's the Orianna for Lava. He's been defaulting to that one. Yukal as well. I mean, he's played 5 games. Not with the hugest win rate at the moment on Orianna, only a couple out of the 5, but still, he does have a lot of answers. And the Xayah, like you were talking about, just going to be snapped up as the bottom lane and jungle sorted out for KT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could see the look on Yukal's face was kind of like, he almost had a look of disgust when he saw the Orianna locked in, which is, you know, it can be a champion that is very annoying to play against, and Lava has been very all-in-y and very aggressive, and I think his best champion has been his Orianna so far.
Yep.
But you expect Yukal to win even if it's a bad match. There's the targeted ban against his Victor, which is something that, you know, you don't see against most teams, but against Yukal in particular, you get that. But I think when you've already, if you're KT Rolster, you've already locked down the bot lane in a pretty good place. Like, it's very stable with the Seraphine Xayah into the Kai'Sa here. It doesn't even matter what support they get. You've got a pretty stable lane. I feel like that's the way to draft in this case for KT, because their weak link is the bottom lane. You've already kind of made sure that's not going to snowball out of control against you, unless they misplay it, right? But you don't expect that.
Yep.
I like this a lot.
No, I like it too. I actually think that KT have focused really nicely. That's interesting.
The Thresh
Rel
ban
being hovered. And yeah, the Thresh ban is going to come in. So I think that there might be some solo lane Seraphine happening here.
Yeah. I really did not expect to see that. And that's picked up very early in the draft.
Yeah, we've seen it around the traps, but it's starting to come out here in the LCK perhaps, as there is the Rel locked in. So we do have confirmation as Yukal likely to be playing that one in the mid lane.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting to see. And that might explain why he gave that face when he saw the Orianna. See if it ends up being a good matchup for him or not. The Ornn going to be locked in here, as it's going to be a pretty safe blind pick into almost anything, as we'll see the Rakan. So a bit of a quarrel on the Rift, but
yeah, the lovers tiff on the bottom lane.
I don't think the Seraphine goes top in any situation. She's just too squishy. So
I don't think so either. But still have to see. You don't know. Ornn is going to be locked in here, so the answer is going to be very LCK. As Doran thinking about the Aatrox, and he's going to lock it in.
It's hard to pick an aggressive top laner like the, you know, Camille into this or Renekton into this, because it's just so, you're going to get so little value. The Aatrox can allow you a lot of pressure in the lane. It can be really good for skirmishes. It's going to work really well with the Udyr pick as well. CC lockdown is pretty insane. So I do like this pick, even though, you know, Aatrox doesn't have the greatest win rate. You know, we don't see, he's actually 3-8 at the moment. We don't see him all too often, but I think it works well with the composition with all the bans that come through. The Gnar ban, the Gragas that's removed. Like, it's actually a pretty nice pick into the Ornn matchup.
I actually hate the Aatrox a lot. I think it's terrible.
Really?
I think, yeah, R5 Aatrox is generally bad, but into Ornn, it's even worse. But it's okay. I mean, you can understand the combination with Rel is really strong. Yukal has a lot of AoE damage in small areas, and if you can bring everyone in and you've got a bouncing around Aatrox, it sort of makes some sense. However, if you're just looking at the matchup, it doesn't really work out, and he's just going to get vastly outscaled.
He's definitely going to get outscaled. The scaling on the side of the Ornn definitely going to be way better. Going to have a lot more late game team fight prowess as well with his Ornhorn. But I'm really curious to see what this mid matchup is going to look like and where the priority goes. If the priority goes to Yukal, it's going to make Udyr's life a lot easier. The top matchup becomes a lot more stable up there for Doran. And you can also see a lot of aggressive plays on the bottom side if the Seraphine gets ahead. If she falls behind, if Prio goes to Lava, this is going to be a very hard game for KT.
And we've seen Lava do some pretty amazing things on his Orianna as well. I mean, he did it to Showmaker. Surely that means he can do it to Yukal, but we'll have to see as they leave it on the Rift. And yeah, maybe I was a little bit mean to the Aatrox. You know, in the past, I've certainly been shying away from ever saying anything good about it. But, you know, Doran is just a fantastic player and might just be able to outskill the matchup and, you know, force the snowball here for KT, which could certainly happen.
Yeah. It's one of those champions that really needs to get ahead early. He doesn't have to get ahead in lane early, but he needs to get you value on those Rift Herald skirmishes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Early Drakes, like the first 2 Drakes, especially the second Drake, like he needs to be able to teleport in and make something happen. Otherwise, why'd you pick the champion, right? You might as well just pick any other slow, stable top laner.
Yeah, and there's even extra good here for the Aatrox, which is the need for priority in your lanes when you have an Udyr, right? And Doran just going to make sure that the early game is going to go in their favor so that Blank can have as much value as possible. That being said, Blank chose the wrong skin, so that's just terrible.
Yeah. Well, there are the runes here. The Aerie coming through. Some extra harass. Everything else, as you'd expect, the Scorch coming through as well.
Oh no, he missed the first CS. Obviously, she's a support.
Yep. Gonna have the biscuits here as well. Not a big shocker, not a big surprise.
Yeah.
I wonder if this ends up being a moment where Lava can shine actually in a matchup that's just not that figured out just yet. Like if he just ends up being aggressive and runs away with the game. That could be one way Fredit Brion takes an upset win here, right? Because this is another one of those situations where KT's picked an unusual pick, just like the Kog'Maw we saw earlier, and sometimes you're just not ready. Sometimes it's just not ready for LCK. Even though you've scrimmed it a lot, it just ends up being harder to execute than what you've practiced. So something to keep in mind.
No, I think you're right. I'm looking forward to seeing what Yukal can do. He's generally good with these newer picks. He was always one to, you know, try and stick to what was cool. So at the moment, he's controlling the wave quite nicely, but not really too much. It's just going to be a standard control mage matchup for the most part.
Singing a lot.
Yeah, that's
Orianna's not so much, you know.
Yeah, that's the bother with Seraphine. She's very noisy.
Not as noisy as Gnar, though, I will say.
That is true.
Once you hear it, too, I'm sorry if I just ruin Gnar for everyone whenever you watch an LCK game. It's like, highlights or no, it's just a non-stop Gnar, baby Gnar giggle noises the whole time.
Yep.
It drives me crazy.
We're not in Lissandra meta anymore. If we were in Lissandra meta, we'd have to hear the, like, all the time, and it's just that was a tough time, especially when Fly was playing because he played only Lissandra. Oh god. Difficult times. We'll see whether she makes a comeback in the future, because I haven't had to use that name in a very long time. As Lava getting harassed out here by Yukal, using his mana bar as a resource now, and Lava's suffering.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's the limiting factor here with Seraphine, because she's so sustainable. She can heal, shield, and her skill shots are so easy to hit that you just kind of spam them, and it's very difficult to deal with.
Yeah,
it's really easy to farm as well.
Not to mention the follow-up at the same time with her empowered autos as well with the passive. It just all just adds up. As you know, she's oppressive in the bottom lane. Just transfer her to mid. She does the same thing. I used to abuse a similar thing. I was playing a lot of mid lane Zyra back in the day.
I know you're a big Zyra guy.
that was my one. I'm back into the support role nowadays, as you know, I just get ganked too much, especially by these Korean junglers that are just all over me. But yeah, it was fun for a while.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember before mid Lulu was a thing. I remember Valdez was playing that like crazy all the time. Had an insane win rate.
Yeah, Valdez he's like the ultimate meta slave. Like, I remember he was abusing Corki when, like, that was all anyone was ever playing, and then Talia immediately afterwards when it was all anyone was ever playing. Oh, it was fantastic. He's the biggest gamer in the caster crew.
Oh, for 100%. Sure. Biggest gamer. Well, Seraphine matchup has been pretty stable so far. You know, nothing to really write home about. We talked about the mana bar being the limiting factor. Gonna have a little bit of lane priority here for a moment, so Blank's gonna steal away some chickens.
Yep. And wave clear is just pretty nuts.
Yeah, it's so easy to get last hits as well. It's like it's pretty brainless. not to take anything away from UCal here, but it's one of those lane matches where it's like really hard to mess it up before Orianna has 6 and could even play the game against you.
Yep. Well, Umpty coming down, seeing what he can get done down here. Is a bit of a back coming in, but we're going to cancel them. Umpty turns up, and KT are wondering why they did that. Hopping over the wall, flash comes through from Hybrid, and he also takes a lot of damage as the Ignite ticks down, but it's not, of course, going to kill him. And Umpty's just going to say thanks for the Drake.
Yeah, this is actually really nice timing because UCal backed and doesn't have teleport. It's heading back in, and there's just no... And with no control over mid and that exchange going really poorly for them on the bottom side for KT, this is just a really nice free Drake. You can see Lava even gets involved on the minimap. He rotates over, drops a control ward down there. Or they drop a control ward. I don't know if that was, in fact, Lava who dropped it, but somebody drops one down there. And they've got total control over this river now. And Blank's just unable to find anything. And now you can see UCal rotating towards the top side of the map, but there's nothing he can do there. The lane is too pushed. So kind of an awkward moment here for KT Rolster before that Herald.
It does work out, right? Like if you look at the theory, you know, the Udyr theory, it's like, let's get lane priority. Well, they have that because Seraphine clears waves extraordinarily quickly. Doran in the early game is, of course, going to have control of this top side, and especially with how well he's been playing it thus far, Hoya's just sort of stuck underneath this turret, and therefore the man, bear, tiger bird can just get through the jungle and do whatever he wants. And turtle, sorry. Why did I forgot Franklin. That's very rude.
Franklin. But not the Franklin skin, apparently, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, maybe.
Ooh, this is not where you want to be if you're empty. This is the power of Aatrox in the early to mid. Get a flash out. What up? Damn. That's a Herald, probably.
That's ridiculous. He had a blast going right there. He just decided that he was too frightened to use it. And is going to flash away instead. Maybe he was scared that the Aatrox was going to come with him. Maybe I didn't do my geometry correctly, but it was an odd flash. Is KT going to start off this blue buff? Umpty is going to come over and say, please no. As Doran's found Hoya as well. I mean, this guy's all over the place.
Well, I mean, this is very aggressive rotation from UCal and Blank. Hoya is going to have to come down to answer for this, but he's actually going to get zoned out here from Doran. Puts an extra ward down, but all he's going to see with that ward is blue is still being taken away.
Yep, and UCal gets it hand-delivered as well, as the Gromp should belong to the Udyr. So a great start so far. That Searing Charge was a bit sad from Hoya. As, yeah, KT, like, this is just, it's worked out exactly the way they wanted it to, right? And now I feel bad for what I said about Aatrox, because based on what their game plan was, it does feel like it was a decent pick in that lane.
Yeah, the timing doesn't work out to grab the Herald right afterwards because UCal has to clear his wave. But they are going to be set up to do it pretty soon here. And I wonder if there's anything Fredit Brion could do to stop this at this stage. And they have the Ornhorn. It's some really nice engage for them. But otherwise, their comp is not quite online yet. And with all the lane priority that there is across the map, I wonder how you deny is. Meanwhile, Umpty steal away blue.
Yep, manages to grab it on the opposite side. Sort of an answering steal more than anything else is Zeus coming on in. Half the health bar, but still a little bit scary. Hybrid just clearing out minions as best he can. Bit of a fight over vision, but it will be one there as the control wards are taken down. Great grand entrance onto Hybrid, who does have to be careful. The Track Repel comes through, 200 health. Onto Hybrid right now. Had the Feather Storm, so of course wasn't going to die. But still, it's a good trade for Fredit Brion on the bottom side.
Looks like we're going to have Moonstone for the Seraphine with the Bandle Glass being picked up now. So always something that's going to make you excited if you're a big Enchantress fan. Love it to see healing. And
UCal could be a Moonstaff gamer.
He could be a Moonstaff gamer. And the thing is, she's got so much healing and sustain anyways that she ends up being one of the best Moonstaff champions that you could have, especially because, you know, she's going to build it faster because she's a mid laner, not a support. Then, you know, support Seraphine can build it. So it ended up being really nice for them. Well, it could, you know, it could also backfire. You're going to lose a lot of damage, of course, but you gain a lot as well.
In before he builds Imperial Mandate, we're just going to be confused.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not getting much value out of the added AP when I actually look at the comp and think about it. you don't get really that much out of the staff. He
is basically the sole source of magic damage. So it might put them behind there just a little bit on that front. I mean, Blank theoretically does magic damage as well, but he's a tank, so will be ignorable as the game goes on. Just have to see where UCal's going to go with this.
Rift Herald still just chilling. I haven't had enough of an advantage to actually commit to that just now. I feel like they could have made a bigger play for it, but with Hybrid losing out in the bottom lane, not having flash for a while, it really took away a lot of the tempo for KT in terms of their rotating. And as I mentioned it, Umpty is going to make a go for it. They have vision control at the moment.
Yep, Lava's going to move in here. UCal's still dealing with minion waves, as you can see. And Delight had rotated up early. Hybrid's still stuck under the turret, and so it should mean that Shelly does just get delivered over to Fredit Brion. Her eye gets poked out just a little bit there. As you can see, UCal just so swiftly deals with the minion waves. Actually quite satisfying, to be honest. As Umpty very easily secures that one. So nicely done by Fredit Brion, actually taking some things on this map. Not just giving the game over to KT.
This is aggressive. I don't know about this one, KT.
Yeah, Umpty's going to try and move down. You can see Blank does have inside track. Fredit Brion just get to their minion wave.
This bottom lane has just not been in control for KT, which has actually cost them now a Drake and a Rift Herald. And the rotating power hasn't been there, even with Seraphine and an Aatrox controlling top and mid lanes. But that's the way that the KT games often go. Bot lane is the issue. It's the weak link. Rendoran and UCal never really have a bad game, at least not in terms of the laning phase.
Yeah. This Dragon, another Cloud. We are inundated with Cloud Drakes. That's okay. Light moving on over, gets a Gleaming Quill, but there is vision, but the mid lane is a wash, right? Because both of these mid laners with so much wave clear, not able to, fight for that much priority at this point in time, as Blank is going to take down the Rift Scuttler. And think about the Drake, as Hoya's going to move on down. So Doran went for a reset, doesn't have teleport, and now he's under his turret with an Ornn moving down, and this should mean that Fredit Brion can take the Drake as well. So neutral objective control actually working out very well for Fredit Brion at this point in time.
I think this bottom lane, I mean, it's not like Hybrid is behind as much as we've seen some, bot laners go in terms of the Kai'Sa matchup, but he is, the lane is constantly pushed against him, and he lost flash really early on. He's got it back now, but these small things leading to bot lane priority is really awesome for Fredit Brion. They're going to get this Rift Herald charge in the mid, and they're continuing to try to fight for this Drake priority. As it happens, Doran is trying to get anything he can on the top side of the map, because he knew it's very likely it's going to go to Fredit Brion, so he pushed the lane a little bit. He's going to clear a ward, going to clear a Gromp.
Yeah. Has his Gore Drinker completed already. 136 CS is pretty decent, as he's fighting Hoya as well. Finds a sweet spot on that Q, and Hoya loses half of his health bar. Very nicely done by Doran.
Now look at the Orianna rotation up. So now they feel like they can finally maybe start rotating towards this Drake. With Lava coming here to get blue, this is a really nice timing for them to actually steal the Cloud Drake away. They're just going to rush over here and take it as fast as they can, and no one can match this rotation. Too much control on the bottom side. For the first time, KT actually get that bot control and take an objective.
Yeah. So that's going to be one dragon apiece. We've got an Ocean Soul, so a 3-stack for either team if it does happen. Because Umpty's just in the enemy jungle, stealing away some chickens. And that's definitely good news for Fredit Brion, slowing down the clear speed of this Udyr.
Doran is really being aggressive in this top side. He's 30 CS up. He's constantly trying to find trades with Hoya in the jungle. Every time he steps down, he follows. And he just keeps having wave advantage. But he hasn't been involved in any of these objective fights. The first two Drakes going without him. See what happens on this next Rift Herald fight, because I think that's a place where, with the Core Drinker already completed for him and he's starting to get towards the Sterak's, like, he would probably want to get involved and maybe take some kills and force Fredit Brion away, take really big control of this mid game.
Well, Moonstone is completed, so UCal has the first half. We'll see whether he does commit to the staff portion of it. There was actually recently an interview, I believe it was with Carrier, who was asked the question about this Moonstaff build, and he said that as far as support was concerned, you're just going for it is a little bit too greedy because you can't build it in time. But maybe in the mid lane, it's going to be something that UCal can go towards.
Yeah. So I was saying earlier, you know, when you're in the mid lane, you've got a lot more gold, got a lot more minions funneled into your items. You can build that so much safer, so much faster.
It looks like it too, because the Forbidden Idol is there. So
yeah,
here's the confirmation. Here's our first Moonstaff, and it's coming from a mid laner, which is not what we were expecting. A lot of that was coming from jungle expectation. Still going to be very valuable, as the clear is just ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so easy, too. I mean, just kind of spam forward. You're never really under threat from, you know, the Orianna. If it was an Assassin matchup, you know, there would be a little bit more question marks about this pick, but into the Orianna, it's very, very stable, very safe. So, ooh, look at this rotation.
Yeah, Umpty trying to steal away the Gromp, and he's been very aggressive with his positioning. I've liked it so far. As Hoya just continuing to struggle up against Doran.
With a Gore Drinker, he's just like, all right, well, I can trade turret shots for heals. And
yeah, easy.
There's nothing you can do about it. Plus the phage healing as well. Okay, this is very aggressive. They're trying to make something happen to trade this back.
Oh, there's the on-horn, actually. Doran taking a few too many turret shots, and there's the solo kill under the turret. Hoya, right as we were talking about him getting abused, he takes it all back and takes down Doran for first blood.
That's worth a beard stroke, I'd say, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I was worried for a second that, you know, we saw that heavy rotation from Fredit Brion on the bottom side of the map to potentially dive Hybrid and Zeus, which just didn't look like it was going to be very successful. It's very difficult to dive that. And I was like, oh, they're losing out. You can see that on the minimap down there. So I was like, oh, they're going to lose out on top, and they're going to that bottom dive is not going to work. But guess what? Hoya just all in here, hits the Ornhorn, and that's all it takes.
That was a huge mistake from Doran. That could cost KT, because
it definitely
this matchup turning around and going the other direction is just huge for the state of this game. As, oh man, that's it's real dicey. And look, we said it, like, Aatrox doesn't normally just smash the matchup, right? It can go either way, depending on the Ornn player and the Aatrox player, I guess. And it was looking like Doran was able to control it, but like, you make a mistake like this and it can just turn all the way around. Oh, it's a real feels bad, man, if you're a Doran fan. Well, as Blank is going to take Shirley.
Yeah, this is when this is that second Rift Herald Shirley fight that I was alluding to, where, you know, the Aatrox is going to make sure that you, I mean, you definitely want to fight over this if you're KT, and they're just not even going to contest it. You can see Hoya's poking around, scouting it out, grabbing some vision, but it is going to go their way. It's already picked up by Blank.
Yep.
Not as valuable, obviously, as the first one, but definitely something you've got to fight for these objectives with the Aatrox now. And this upcoming Ocean Drake, he does not have teleport for, whereas Hoya does. Speaking of which,
he's using it right now. Quickness comes through. There's the Magnet Storm as the crash down, trying to get Zeus to safety, but it's not going to work whatsoever. Umpty takes a bit of damage, but otherwise it is all Fredit Brion. And are we seeing the Fredit Brion that we saw take down Damwon Kia in this game number 1? That's my question, because already they have all the kills. They have an Infernal Drake. They're feeling real nice, and they're in position for this Ocean Drake. Is that's a bit dicey there from Hybrid, but good sidestep.
They're not ahead very often, but when they are, they just stay ahead and end up winning really long games. That's what we've seen from them so far, with their one win against Damwon Kia. And this all goes back to Doran actually dying and having to use his teleport. He's not relevant. He can't go down to the bottom side of the map where he wants to be. Oh,
Hybrid in so much trouble. Has to use his Feather Storm to escape a 1v1 with Henna, who's diving towards inner turrets. And that's showing some confidence right there as Blank booking it after Hoya, who does have a really nice Bellows Breath. And he's going to keep himself safe underneath this turret. And maybe if he hadn't have got that kill, would have been a different story, but he's got some items on him now, as well as his upgraded Frostfire Gauntlet.
Well, you know, this is where things are starting to become bad for Doran, right? I mean, he got killed. The items are starting to come through for Hoya, and now they can't trade back objectives on the top side of the map because Ornn is just unkillable under turret most of the time, as Doran already knows especially well. But there's no teleport for Doran, so this is just an easy dive attempt. If they have teleport here, this turns into a skirmish that's really awesome, potentially for KT, if the timing is good, if the positioning is a little bit better for the bot duo. But he doesn't have teleport, so they can't match it. It's just a free kill. coming across.
Yeah.
So Hoya gets another assist. And, you know, Doran's teleport's coming back online soon, but they lose another objective. And things are going from bad to worse here for KT Rolster.
And the mid Seraphine has done absolutely nothing so far. Like, the big supportive build and then not actually supporting anyone doesn't really feel very good. As Hybrid parked underneath this outer turret, and Fredit Brion looking to push it down.
I don't think the team fights are going to be slow enough, too, for it to get real value later on, especially because they're so far behind at this point. They're ahead in gold, but in terms of what the objective control has been and how the Aatrox is going to trend downwards the longer this game goes, and the Hoya Orin pick is going to trend upwards. I mean, the gold here is now, I guess, as I mentioned, it's now dead even, but this is where Fredit Brion really starts to pull ahead right now. And with the engage tools that they have, with the Orianna Shockwave that can come in with Hoya, and the Ornhorn, not to mention Kai'Sa scaling, that's going to be great later on too. I feel like the team fights are going to be so fast. Like, people are going to die so quickly. You're not going to get value out of the Moonstone Renewer heal. And, I mean, a little bit of AP and move coming through from the Staff of Flowing Water is... I just don't think it's going to end up being that great. You've traded off a lot of damage for that.
Well, I mean, it's not great if you're not actually going to use it, right? Like,
yeah,
they've had this, and then the Seraphine's been in none of these skirmishes whatsoever. And it's been smart of Fredit Brion to fight around her, but also KT sort of misusing the Seraphine, who's now just farming on the top side. And yes, look, she has the most farm in the game, doing a very good job in that regard. But if you're not using that money for anything, then it's pretty useless. So looking forward to seeing UCal actually, you know, get involved.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, they have the ability to charm in these choke points, right? They can kind of turn engages if Fredit Brion blow their engage early and then aren't able to capitalize on it. Like, those can be the longer fights that slowly turn around with blanketing in there, hitting a bunch of stuns. You have UCal having a charm hit, and then you have Zeus getting into the backline, hitting his stuns as well, and the Retract repels. They have a lot of good engage, and in those really crazy skirmishy fights, too, Hybrid is pretty safe. You have Doran who can get a bunch of knockups. Like, there are ways to make it work, but in execution, or in practice, Fredit Brion's comp should front to back with a really nice setup a lot easier, and then you're just not going to get those procs off for UCal very often.
And look, like, the Moonstaff is very, very strong, right? And it is something that, you know, could help KT out if these fights are going to be extended and they're actually fighting with UCal in the area. But we'll just have to see how it is going to work, because Fredit Brion have, like, one of the most standard scaling compositions that we've ever had here in the LCK, especially these days. Like, even Umpty's going to scale infinitely better than Blank will.
Yeah.
On this Graves. So, yeah, it's a rough game for KT to just handshake a slow early game and actually lose for the most part.
Yeah, and I think the positioning is going to have to be really good for KT in these team fights, and they're going to have to play it slow, and they're going to have vision advantages, which they do have. To give them a lot of credit, they have great vision control over this next Drake, which is where they're going to try to team fight. They need to make sure that they're positioned in kind of an arch and are not super far forward when this fight does happen. And also, you know, you can see the observers zooming out. They also need to be aware of where Hoya is going to set up for this. Here we go.
Here's all the movement speed as Blank trying to book it after Henna, who just immediately cleanses and is going to get out of that bear stun. So, I mean, boop value. I mean, trading a bear stance boop for a cleanse is a good one.
They need to fight for the objective here. Trying to take this fight mid, I think, is just very risky. Fight for your advantages. Fight for your win conditions around the Drake. Don't fight in mid. Okay, they're going to move down here and start taking control. Actually, it's a back right now.
Are we trading?
Oh, this is actually smart for Fredit Brion.
Yeah, they're just going to give up on this one. They do have, you know, vision. It does come in with that blue trinket as Hoya's going to come on down. Delight in flanking position. And Doran's actually going to come on over. He was thinking about taking the Drake, is now Blank getting on in there. That's softened up, but now we might see some of that value as Hoya gets in there. It's a good knockup. Ornhorn comes down. We'll see how much value it gets as it's only onto Doran, who immediately gets popped. It's a 1-for-1 so far, but it's the big frontliner that's taken down. Shockwave onto 3 is huge, but then the answering ulti from UCal. Oh my god, the Seraphine value's coming in now. Instant triple kill for Hybrid. And look, why did we ever doubt it? All the scaling in the world just in that one pick. with those couple of items.
I mean, look, when you have amazing stack ups like that, you're gonna get value out of the charm, and it is super easy to turn a team fight when everybody groups up after a shockwave. The fight starts off so well for Fredit Brion. They're able to kill Doran instantly, right? I mean, he is unfortunately just caught out of the position, ends up getting Ornhorned. And look at the other side of the map, right? Delight gets picked here, so it's a trade, but the shockwave is amazing, right? It's just set up perfectly. 3 people are caught, but instantly UCal charms 4. And like, you can't win the fight from there. Then you're starting to get big value out of the Moonstone Renewer the longer this fight goes on, and that's how you turn. That's actually good execution from KT defensively.
Yeah, it was actually really beautiful in the end, and sometimes UCal can just turn it on, and he absolutely did in that moment. That's going to mean the Baron, and they should be able to get over here and grab themselves the Drake if they would like it. You can see not actually committing to it for now, as they didn't quite feel safe, as Blank will move back and start that one up again. Zeus in position forward. UCal's going to move on over.
It's pretty huge. Oh, hold that thought.
Yeah.
It's pretty huge. Hybrid got those kills because he's going to start spiking those items up big time. Like, he's finished his Essence Reaver now, and he's got a BF sword and a pickaxe, so gotta be jumping into that third item real quick. And I mean, this is where things can start to turn around for KT Rolster after just one decisive defensive fight.
It's crazy. It's crazy just how valuable that was. It's now getting in there with that shield. Good double knock up there from Hoya, though, but you can see the health bars aren't really moving, and Hoya just gets obliterated. UCal grabs that kill for himself. Doran wasn't even there, and the rest of Fredit Brion are moving back, and now the heals will come through. Hybrid fighting against Tenor is dangerous as the Killer Instinct comes in, but Zeus with a fantastic stun. The Shockwave not actually able to do enough. And now, just once again, UCal just pressing W whenever he can.
Yep, Moonstaff out value is real here, as Doran actually is not done yet.
Nope. He gets the flash out of lava, and now he's chasing after Umti. His flash goes down as well. And was he getting hit by the turret? I'm not entirely sure. His health bar doesn't really tell me so.
Well, you know, this is another fight too where there are positional issues on the side of Fredit Brion. The Ornhorn start is pretty good, and you have a lined up KT, but there's no follow-up, right? And look at where Lava is. You can't even see him right now because he's not here. He's not actually in this fight when he needs to be. So the engage is really nice in this choke point, but the teleport is coming through just now. It's so late. The charm is once again here in another choke point, and Lava's just, he wasn't in the fight. You need that shockwave follow-up to if you're going to engage like that. Even if it looks like a juicy Ornhorn knockup, you can't commit to that fight without your Orianna, or you're just going to have a big problem getting those kills and finishing people off. Because like you said, the heals start coming through, spamming W from UCal, and all of a sudden everybody's back at full health, and they're pushing down your mid lane.
Yeah, and yeah, the Encore is just, it doesn't feel very balanced. It's a pretty silly ability, getting value once again.
Very low
for UCal. Yep, but he's also like his positioning's been fantastic in these fights as well. So really debuting this mid Seraphine very, very effectively.
Yeah, and it looked like things were so bad for KT. Remember when Doran died solo in the top lane and the map started being completely unlocked for Fredit Brion? They had all objective control. But two of their back-to-back two of their team fights have just been absolutely counter-engaged on by UCal. They need to either catch him in these stuns, they need to have Orianna there, or they need to find a different place to fight rather than these choke points where he's just going to get insane charm value. As the Infinity Edge is complete now for Hybrid, the damage output is insane on this Xayah, and she is doing all the work when those charms come through.
Yeah. The gold at the moment, theoretically pretty even given the ornaments, but I just feel like when UCal's in the area and when KT are in position, it's just so scary. Okay,
Lava.
A bit of a collapse onto Lava, who just gets exploded. A lot of damage there for the Xayah, as unfortunately Hoya not going to be able to find the Ornhorn value again. Bellow's Breath comes down, Doran trying to slow him up. And look, he's also not too phased by this situation. Doesn't actually need a Seraphine, of course, because the amount of healing is absolutely enough, and KT will push forward towards this inhibitor turret. Fredit Brion looking absolutely lost.
Yeah, I feel like the execution of this draft was a little bit weak, a little bit off. Starting to get a little bit nervous when they lost control of that first team fight. We've seen sloppy engages ever since. And KT Rolster, they look like they want to end this game right now. It's going to be a tall order. I think they're probably just going to have to settle with one inhibitor for the moment. Baron's up in 70. 90 seconds. How many seconds? 80 seconds.
Yeah. Or
There you go.
And
Oh, we did it. Yeah, well, I don't know why I tried to make it into seconds instead of actually just reading it out.
You're normally very good at that, though, so I do appreciate it. I've never done just the seconds, personally. Math is hard. But it is 6,000 gold lead. The inhibitor has been taken. The map belongs to KT. And
look at this.
The mid game was slow, but as soon as the Seraphine got involved, it was all about KT.
Yeah, it's just really easy lineup there. Ornhorn not even going to connect with the first part of it. He actually walks away, doesn't even get the hit there. So we're going to jump back into live just in case. But I was going to say the the execution here for Fredit Brion has been a little bit weak. I think if you pause the game at like 15 to 18 minutes and put anyone who's on the west side of our standings in that game, like I feel like they could probably close this one out. But yeah, unfortunately, I've just walked right into the UCal trap in every single fight.
Oh man, it's looking really oppressive. As they would be able to just rotate over towards this Ocean Drake if they would like to take it. KT wanting to deny a Baron take, as Doran just going to face check, but he feels like a god at this point in time, walking towards 4 people. Not sure whether it's exactly the best move, but Sterix is a pretty busted item. Magnet Storm's fantastic. Doran just flashes out as the ulti doesn't get the massive value like it did last time. UCal now backing away. Zeus doing the same thing, but of course, no one's gonna die. On the side of KT, and Fredit Brion do have the inside track on this Baron. They're going to dive on over and start this one up.
All right, there we can see, I mean, there's no ult this time for UCal, so engaging on this is so difficult for KT Rolster. I don't think they can do it. They've got heals, but they don't have hard engage.
They don't have a smite either, as the Baron is, of course, taken, but Xayah able to grab that first kill in the fight. Both of the supports taken down as Hoya now in trouble. That's a good knockup, but a double kill now for Hybrid, who's trying to be the hero. UCal still at full health. A triple kill for the Kai'Sa, but they're still chasing after them. The low health bars. Umpty gets a big old shield. He will be okay. As Henna dashes on forward, looks for Hybrid. The Moonstar value is too disgusting.
It's nasty.
Oh, it is.
It is.
And now,
it is unfair.
And Fredit Brion are just running away. They do have empowered recalls. That is what's going to be started up here as Hybrid gets disonanced and does need to oh no, the feathers. They will fly, my friend. And now Lava, he's running for the hills. The last remaining Baron. And lets the beat drop. And Lava's going to have that one delayed. And the ulti comes out yet again. It's got such a low cooldown.
He almost had his shockwave. It's just now coming off of cooldown. Well, that ends up being a pretty extended, long exchange that KT win in the end. They don't have the engage to actually hard go in on this Baron, and like you said, there's no smite here to get the steal. It's actually going to go over, obviously, immediately to Umpty. And this longer fight, though, look at Hybrid's damage output. He is just god tier. They took a ton of damage from the Baron, and then the Moonstaff value, really most of the Moonstone Renewer, just going to heal everybody up. The shields are coming through. And Umpty actually went for the Serpent's Fang. He's actually trying to delete these shields, but there's a limit to what that item is able to do. And Hybrid just with the outplays here. And then some silliness.
This was a bit of yakety sax at this point.
This is a little bit silly from Umpty, trying to hit the Q there into the wall and just completely misses it and dies, and otherwise had a decent chance of escaping. This Lava is like 1 second away from his shockwave. Not really, like 10, but not gonna get it.
Still, it did look close.
It was close
to having that one back, so it's a little bit sad. KT, Soul Point now available for them, as Fredit Brion still wondering how they're supposed to deal with this. Doran splitting on the mid, in the mid lane, and Super Creeps cruising down top side. KT looking to set up this Phalanx. Denying the Baron, definitely a good call, but just don't know how it is going to work here as KT, 6,000 gold in the lead. And this Seraphine is just pretty ridiculous with what Fredit Brion have to fight with.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much, there's so many shields, there's so much healing, that anytime you even shoot at KT Rolster, you're like, well, we didn't kill anybody, so it's actually, was it worth anything at all? Doran.
Yeah. Okay. Aggressive move, but it is going to open them up to this inhibitor turret, and the gigantic shields mean that Doran's absolutely okay with hopping over a wall like that. Okay, back in again. yeah, gets stunned up. The ulti comes out, but it's only onto one, but that might just be enough as Hoya punches the ram back the wrong direction. The Magnet Storm value is massive, but so is the Shockwave in the backline. That's Hybrid dead. And now Fredit Brion think that they can turn it on. A double kill for the Kai'Sa. And Fredit Brion, they're not done yet.
Now, really careful and slow engage from Fredit Brion, even with the Ornhorn just kind of falling by the wayside. I think KT Rolster should have been a little bit more careful about how they kind of face planted into the second part of that fight. As Yukao gets hit by this, but he's not going to follow up. He doesn't have it.
Yeah,
but it looked cool for a second. Our observers were like, well.
Oh no, the Zhonya's sound. The perpetual Zhonya's.
Oh no, this happens sometimes.
It does. Oh no. Well, we'll see whether
game might not go much longer.
These waves, but it looks like we're just going to brute force this inhibitor turret. They should be able to get there. Still, a few seconds on Hybrid, and Zeus is about to respawn now. Blank coming back in 10 seconds as well. And Fredit Brion, they take away the inhibitor, buy themselves a little bit more control, and their inhibitor actually just respawned.
Yeah.
So certainly a control swing here.
We're a minute 45 away from that next Baron. There's no big objectives on the map at the moment. So this becomes this awkward lull state where neither team wants to take a fight because losing a team wipe is actually going to cost you the game. As when you watch this engage here for KT, the combo is pretty good, and the Ornhorn doesn't actually work out at all. Like, he knocks it back as he's trying to retreat. Zeus comes in with a huge Magnet Storm. They actually don't secure any kills here. Henna's golden, untouchable, and then he just turns around and starts killing people. Unfortunately, there's not enough follow-up damage there on KT's side. With Hybrid being down, it's just, that's it.
And I think that Yukao also just threw an ult into a Bellows Breath, which is absolutely not what you want to do, especially onto just the one person. That Magnet Storm would have been so good. Imagine if Encore's like layered on top of that. Like, that's a better moment to do that. And you can understand Yukao's thinking. It's like, let's get rid of the front line and then just continue to move forward because I can heal everyone back up. But just wasn't the case, and losing Hybrid is unacceptable for KT. They really need him if they want to do the extra damage. And he has 6 items now, one of them being a Guardian Angel, so popping him with a Shockwave is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes with how these team fights are going, though, even if he's in Resurrection animation, that might be enough to turn the tide. He is going to have to be careful with his positioning, but at least, you know, he's got that security that he might be able to wake back up and turn the rest of the team fight. This is kind of how it's going to go for a little bit here. It's so hard for either team to be the aggressor and be the setup engage because the counter engage is so strong. It's kind of a game of chicken, really, for these two, between the Seraphine ult, the call of the Forge God, the Ornhorn.
Yep.
And the Shockwaves. Like, whoever fights first, if they don't get a kill almost instantly, the other team has a really nice turn. But it's better for KT in that longer fight, obviously, because of the Moonstaff synergy.
You can see KT. We're just K-ramming right now.
Yes.
As soon as that W comes up, KT just trying to get forward. That's a decent knock up there from Doran, but he might just get popped. Takes the Rakan with him. As Zeus getting taken down very low. A double kill so far for the Kai'Sa as Henna immediately cleanses. There's the flash to get out of the Shockwave. And KT are going to try and back away. 3 versus 4 now, though.
Very scary here.
Fredit Brion are feeling good. You're exactly right, though, about the fact that if there's an ace, right, the game is over. One side or the other.
Fredit Brion just going to rotate over to this Drake. They still have Killer Instinct. And it's okay. They're just going to leave Umpty to solo this. KT are hopeful if they think they can steal this Baron away. I mean, they can easily 3-man it if no one contests them because of all the healing they have. But, I mean, there's just no way that Fredit Brion was ever going to let them take that for free. I mean, they had no vision, but it's very obvious when they walk towards that Baron pit what is on the mind. As we are going to watch this team fight again. This is just instant blow up. Like I said, if you get a kill early, then you can win this fight. Look at the follow-up knock-up. Instant kill onto Doran. Zeus goes down. And there's just no way to turn this one around after that. Really nice disengage against a Shockwave. But besides, you know, beyond that, you can't win that fight anymore. It's a numbers advantage.
Yeah, and I actually thought there was Hybrid that flashed, but it was Yukao that was about to get popped by the Shockwave. So someone flashed, just picked the wrong person. 11-11 as far as the kills are concerned. Fredit Brion down 3,000 gold, but actually up in value given the ornaments that have been spread around. Kraken Slayer upgraded, as well as, of course, Hoya's item and the and Umpty's mythic as well.
Yeah.
I don't know why I forgot the name, but I did. That's okay.
The Immortal Shield Bow?
Yeah.
I don't know what it
Why
is.
did I
don't know what
decide
it is,
that I
Oren.
didn't want to? My brain didn't want to tell me that one. That's it's okay. Sometimes these things happen. As
You're all
Doran's
good.
gonna get poked a little bit, but now the Phalanx being set up once again. Yukal hanging off towards the backside. We've got all the ultimates available. No flash for Yukal, which is actually very important for Fredit Brion to keep.
I mean, this game is an
on.
ARAM now, Atlas. I mean, that's basically where we're at. This is the highest level ARAM you're ever gonna watch, except it was not all random, okay?
Yeah. It does feel very K-Rammy. You're absolutely.
But they're all mid.
There's the flash out from Umpty. Hoya also trying to get out of there. He's very tanky right now, as you can see. But still, damage is relevant from KT. It's a max items hybrid. It's very, very scary.
Ooh, Doran is very aggressive. I think KT should just kite back towards the Baron pit. That is definitely where they want to take this fight. They have vision advantage. They have scuttle control. Starting it, you know, is another question entirely, but at least forcing KT to group up and walk towards you is definitely going to be strong. They are going to start this. KT have no vision, or Fredit Brion, excuse me, have no vision.
Yeah, it's getting taken down very quickly, but Umpty looking to try and get towards the pit. Here's the turn now as the Ornhorn comes down. KT trying to get out of the way of it, but Doran's already dead. Oya towards that front line. There's the two-man shockwave. Zeus gonna flash out of it, though. The Encore not that great, only onto Umpty. The rest of KT just gonna continue running away. This movement speed's so valuable here from this Staff of Flowing Water as Fredit Brion, they think it's their turn to start off this Baron, and despite not having Doran, KT are still here trying to contest.
Teleport back in from Hoya. He has no ult, but he is going to be back up to full health. I don't think they can contest this anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. The home guard from Hoya is just going to get them out of there, and that is the Baron secured from Fredit Brion. You mentioned that, you know, their composition still works, but they've figured out how to play against this Seraphine on the fly, it feels like, and Yukal hasn't found all of the value that he found in the earlier fights.
And we talked about it a long time ago. We talked about it from draft. We talked about it in the early game, but this Aatrox pick is doing a whole lot of nothing in the late game. Doran is getting popped.
Yeah.
He's 1-5-3. He's the first one to die in a lot of these fights. As he just Gore Drinkers hopes he can get a big Randuin's as he gets one Sterak's Gauge shield, and then he dies, right? And he's often the first one to go down, and then your front line is gone. Like, look at this. Instantly charmed and knocked up. He gets the shield, but he just does not survive. He's just blown up instantly. And now Hoya has the really nice chase. As goes go golden, you see the follow-up shockwave is there. And it's like, how can you win this fight from KT at this point? You don't have any more peel. Your Aatrox is dead. You have no top laner. You've got nothing. And in these late-game fights, like, losing a member like that instantly in a fight is basically a death sentence. And when now the Baron buff here, I mean, we're 42 minutes into this game.
Yeah, this game has gone on forever. And Fredit Brion finally get themselves back the gold advantage, but gold largely irrelevant at this point in time. That Ocean Soul that is going to go the distance here this game is still 55 seconds away. And now the chase is on. Yeah, KT looking for an opportunity. They have to be careful of the orb as Delight gets over that wall. And now the re-engage being attempted. Umpty going to get infernally chained, but not going to be pulled back. As Yukal away from his team right now, and Fredit Brion know it. Gets that extra movement speed. There's the quickness from Delight. The crash down is a good answer as there's the Ornhorn. Not going to find any value whatsoever. So now a big cooldown. AT with an opportunity.
I think they should engage soon. They know there's no Ornhorn, and they're going for it.
Yeah, Blank running really, really fast. Umpty trying to get out of there. Still jostling as Doran finds another Infernal Chains. There's the Bellows Breath, but no one really committing just yet. Hybrid getting poked out and chunked just a little bit. Gets back towards the backside. Here's the Magnet Storm, and now KT are trying to get in there. Umpty goes down first as Blank in a bit of trouble. Hybrid Feather Storms the Shockwave very, very nicely, but in the end, it's just a one-for-one. Jungler for support, though, so probably in favor of KT as Hoya. That positioning's a little bit odd. In goes Hybrid and easily takes down the Ornn. That might have been the mistake that cost it for Fredit Brion as Doran. Also, in a real scary position. This game's weird
This game is crazy. A lot of shields coming through here from Yukal as they will just rush down this Ocean Drake. That's going to be even more healing.
Oh god, Ocean Soul, Seraphine, Moonstaff.
If Fredit Brion win this game, I think it might take another 45 minutes. But yeah, triple Ocean Soul, Moonstaff Renewer build. And
yeah, we're gonna have to see that healing graph. We don't normally have a look at the healing graph, but we might need to see that.
By the way,
it's probably still up there on that particular score.
Yukal has 100% kill participation in this game. He's 13 for 13. as every single fight has been based around these insane engages from him, and obviously the heals and everything else is going to come in and give you assists, but this is a fight where you end up getting a kill onto a Graves for a support. The engage was perfect around the Rel. I mean, sure, you lose your support for this, but if you kill a Graves, I mean, in 42 minutes into the game, you can't win this with half of your damage gone. And
yeah,
then,
but Hoya's positioning
stuck.
at the end of that fight, that was really not what you want. It's like he was looking for an opportunity to go back in, but just not actually able to do it. As we've sold boots on Hybrid. He's relying on this this staff a lot for getting around the map. And I think that's an Ardent Sensor picked up by UCal as well. So, yeah, the Kais are going to be doing
getting there.
The Zayas are going to be doing some damage.
Some damage indeed. But I mean, nobody's going to do damage to anybody until these engages happen, because otherwise we're just going to be clearing minions in the mid lane. I don't know if there's actually a thing. 12,274 health healed, it said.
Yep. Yeah, it's...
Total damage plus shielding. Or
a bit of healing and shielding.
Damage
shield doesn't get included to this one, so that's why it's all UCal's stat. It's a large number. A very large
big.
number.
Well, Fredit Brion, I mean, all it's going to take is one good engage to end this game. So, it's not over by any means. KT are the ones pushing the button first, though.
Yep, they should be able to take this inhibitor very comfortably. Ornhorn does come down, and caught in the front line is Blank, and just killed for free. That's exactly not what you want. However, they do manage to at least get their inhibitor. Remember, Hybrid is still very, very scary. There's the dissonance onto Hoya. As soon as Hybrid gets these auto attacks off, it is still very scary. And Doran trying to be that front line as KT. They still have UCal. Now the quickness comes in. Can they actually get any value for it? Is going to be the question as Zeus goes down very low. Now Doran trying to be a hero in that back line, but not quite able to. The Encore, not fantastic, because of course the cleanse is already there, and the Kais is trying to pop off. Only manages to get the Rel. Is now Umpty fighting against Doran, who survives for a long time, but not quite long enough, and the rest of KT nowhere able to commit. And look, there are low health bars on Fredit Brion's side, but that's 3 dead on KT, and just Hybrid and UCal here to try and save the base.
Blanks up in 15 seconds. He's going to take a drink of water. He's going to be alive for a very short amount of time before this Nexus goes down. Doran not being here, no Zeus for any sort of engage, any sort of Magnet Storm. This game is over. What a fantastic turnaround here for Fredit Brion in the later stages.
Yeah, we don't have Encore back alive again. Now the Nexus, they're just trying to race it down as Blank trying to be a hero, but it evaporates.